Go to w.gg with the code Monofinite or use the link in the description for 10% off any order. Everybody's talking about it. You know me. I gotta hop on the bandwagon. So, Overwatch. Was not expecting all that. For additional context, I've been playing since the Overwatch 1 days. It was dumb, unbalanced, and honestly fun at that point. But over time, they started gearing more and more towards the competitive scene, and I just got lost in the sauce. Then they announced Overwatch 2, and I was like, oh wait, I used to like that game, let me hop on. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Overwatch 2 was the most abysmal release of a live service game I think I've ever seen. How do you drop the sequel to a game and remove features? Even with the excitement of the new characters, I just reminded myself, oh wait, there's only one tank, this isn't gonna be as fun as I thought it was. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Overwatch 2 was buns, everybody knew it was buns, but we couldn't really do anything about it because it didn't really have any competition. Until my glorious goats at Netties rained down from the heavens looking at Blizzard and said, yo, company sucks. Marvel Rivals on release genuinely restored my love for games. I don't think you understand how much I love Marvel Rivals. I mean, I've literally made 4 videos about it already. And while most of those videos are literally me complaining, I don't particularly complain about things unless I already like it and want it to improve. Which ties back to Overwatch so well because by now I probably would have made a bunch of videos on Overwatch if it was still Overwatch 1. But when it became Overwatch 2, I mean, I didn't like it enough to complain about it. I mean, Overwatch 2 was just the most obvious cash grab of all time. Let's make the game free, but then make everything that originally came with the game be locked behind a paywall. Let me remind y'all, loot boxes needed to be re-added to the game. Blizzard is a comically greedy company and got away with it for way too long. But then my glorious goats at Netties stepped in and showed you what generosity can get you. More fucking money. That's why I'll never understand these greedy business models that so many companies use. If you just listen to your player base and provide actual incentive to purchase, you'll get significantly more money than if you move like the actual tub of lard that you are. But whatever, I'm getting sidetracked. Thanks to Marvel Rivals, Overwatch 2 had competition. And with that, we started to see them actually fulfilling on some of the promises that they made with the initial release of Overwatch 2. But that wasn't enough to get the general player base back. It was obvious that they were scrambling because they never had actual competition before, which led to them further losing the design features that initially made Overwatch 1 what it was. I mean, let's be real, Kiriko's design sucks, her lore makes no sense, and she has way too many skins, especially legendaries. And I'll get more onto their character design philosophy later because there's certainly things I have to complain about, but let's talk about the good things because apparently I'm a professional complainer. Which, little side tangent, it's interesting that I get comments like that because I make a lot of effort to point out the good and the bad in the things that I enjoy. And 90% of the time whenever I'm talking about something, it's something that I enjoy. Every single one of the games that I've complained about, I have continued to play, because even if there's something I like, it should be subject to criticism. Nothing on this planet is perfect, and I feel as though we should be able to point out the flaws in the things that we like. Speaking of flaws in the things that we like, okay, first and foremost, this Vendetta cinematic is awesome. We're back to the style and quality that we've been asking for, and that's all I wanted, bro. Bro, clap it up for the animators, clap it up for everybody who actually worked on it. It looks awesome. They weren't afraid to call in voice actors to have characters that were relevant speak, even if only for a few lines. It genuinely feels like they're trying to take the story of this game serious again, and I have to applaud them for that. Lighting, sound design, visual effects, all peak. Choreography was okay. People keep talking about, oh, Vendetta should lose to Doomfist. No, she shouldn't. The issue isn't what character is stronger because the creators decide what character is stronger, especially because we haven't seen much of Vendetta. We should be able to assume that she could be stronger than Doomfist. No. The issue here is that it genuinely didn't seem like either of them had to try that much. I think they were trying to make it seem as though Vendetta was so much stronger than Doomfist that she didn't have to try that hard in order to defeat him, but in the process, they made Doomfist look sorry. You can't show us a character being overwhelmed and defeated by something that they easily dealt with before. But he's never fought Vendetta before. Yeah, but he fought 3 of the strongest members of Overwatch at the same time, was putting belt to ass, and clash with Winston in his ultimate. Vendetta beating Doomfist is not the issue. The issue is the fact that Vendetta beat Doomfist and it was extremely anticlimactic. Either both of them should have had to fight way harder, or Doomfist himself should have had to fight way harder. There is no reason why it should have looked like Vendetta beat him with ease, and that nigga wasn't even trying. They really killed Doomfist on Black History Month, bro. This man can't get a break. But okay, cinematic looked nice, served a good narrative purpose. That's all it really needed to do. Cinematics in this style never really functioned to be a cool epic battle anyways. Let's talk about what they're actually adding to the game. 5 new heroes next week. 5 new heroes next week. Hey, regardless of any of the opinions that I'm about to share about each individual hero, they're dropping 5 new heroes next week. That's crazy. That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. Now, looking at each hero, I'm going to be looking at them separately between character design and gameplay design, because those two things are different but can go hand in hand. A character's gameplay design is important to their character design because the thematic fantasy of the character is something that you want to live out while playing them, but one's character design can be a detriment to their gameplay design. A perfect example of this, in my opinion, would be Wu Yong, and I know a certain friend of mine is going to disagree with me about this, but I think Wu Yong's character design is butt. But gameplay design wise, it certainly feels like the kind of character that they are trying to convey. Now, I could go more in depth as to why I think Wu Yong's character design sucks, but this video isn't about him, it's about the new things, the new characters, etc., so we're gonna get onto that first. Let me know if y'all want a more in-depth explanation as to why I think Wu Yong's character design is comically boring, although knowing YouTube comments, y'all won't. Now let's get on to my favorite of the new heroes, Domina. Hello, fine shit. Now my criteria for a character design being good is certainly not attractiveness. I think that design philosophy is fucking stupid and only attracts gooners. That's why Kiriko's design is bad in my opinion, because there's nothing more to her than adorable fox girl, and I fucking hate it. When a character's design is made to be attractive for the sole purpose of let's make this character attractive in order to sell more skins, that is by proxy, in my opinion, bad design. But Domina, she's nice, clean, she's well put together, she has that shit on. She's a higher up at a corporation that's important to this game's lore. You never know who's watching, you always gotta look nice. And it's not just what she's wearing, it's the way she's wearing it that communicates stuff to us, that's what makes good design. She got the coat hanging off the back, not just to look cool, but to create a bigger silhouette. She's purposefully giving herself a more imposing and dominant presence. You could read so much off of this character from a single image, and that's all it should take, because that's good design. Good job, Blizzard. And the decision to make her a poke tank? Perfect. Perfect. Because what do poke tanks do? They don't just take space, they control it. She walks up, she declares an area is hers, and she doesn't let you past it because she doesn't want you past. This is thematic fantasy working in tandem with gameplay. This is what I've wanted. Good job, Blizzard. I could gush about Domina for so long, but then like this video is gonna be too long. So let's get on to another one. Let's talk about Emry. I think Emry looks really cool. There's not really much that I have to say about him, to be honest. I get that he's supposed to be this, like, revenant of the past, someone going in and out of who he once was, but nothing about his design really communicates to me who he was before. In stark contrast to the big glowing red eyeball on his chest that communicates evil! I hate to say it, but his design kind of feels like Vendetta's to me, in the sense that they both fit the mold of what they're trying to convey, but neither of them overcommit to that idea, which makes them feel kind of generic and bland instead of a fully fleshed out character design. With Emry, it's not as bad as Vendetta, but it's definitely still present. Now with Emry gameplay-wise, yeah, that's the thematic fantasy I was thinking about. Give him a rifle, a very focused and aim-heavy weapon, but then make it bursts. The bursts could literally be representative of his real personality bursting in from the depths of his mind. And watch as he pulls out a pistol, another weapon that you need to be trained with and understand very well. And then watch as he unloads the clip like a madman and it bursts you with AoE damage. I may think that this guy looks kind of boring, but he looks fun, if nothing else. Bro, it's been so hard to put it off. Bro, the kitty cat. Look at the kitty cat! Oh my god, she's so... Sorry, I just had Vietnam flashbacks. Overwatch obviously wants an adorable mascot of their own, and they've succeeded. I hate to admit it, they've succeeded. Although I've been a Jeff hater since day one, I've always found that little shit to be annoying and ugly. So not only is Jetpack Cat actually adorable, but she actually looks like a fun character to play, making the only entirely airborne character a support. Great idea. There's nothing really to critique design-wise or gameplay-wise. I mean, it's a Jetpack Cat. There's the Jetpack Cat. And you're playing as a Jetpack Cat. There's the Jetpack Cat. I mean, yeah, this is what I expected. The character seems to serve its purpose in all fronts, so the only actual complaint I have is why did they name it just Jetpack Cat? Couldn't they have come up with just a cute little kitty name? I don't understand. Maybe Overwatch in lore will come up with a name for her at some point, and then it'll like change in the middle of the season or something. That'd be cool. When it comes to Onron, can we go one season without having an under-designed, boring-looking, conventionally attractive woman, please? You know what? I'll give them some benefit of the doubt, because she is the older sister of Wu Yong, so if I find Wu Yong's design boring, obviously it's inevitable that I'm gonna find Onron to look boring, because it makes sense to draw similarities to their designs in order for people to understand that they are siblings. However, you see this? This is Onron from the cinematic. You see this? They changed her nose. They changed their nose. You wanna know why they changed their nose? To make her more conventionally attractive. You wanna know why they want that? So they can make more Gooner skins. The more people that goon to her, the more money we'll make, right? Right? Isn't that right, Blizzard? You know what was cool about Overwatch 1 designs? The fact that they were so distinct and different that it genuinely felt like you were playing an entirely different person each time. I mean, that's literally the point of there being different characters in the game. But you know the vibes that I get whenever I see a lot of these Overwatch 2 and now just back to Overwatch characters? Kiriko, female anime protagonist. Wooyoung, male anime protagonist. Juno, anime protagonist in space. Vendetta, anime protagonist evil edition. And now Onron is just the Boruto to Wooyoung Shippuden. And I hate to admit it, but Onron does look extremely fun. Despite her comically boring and generic character design, her gameplay design looks actually really cool and expressive. You know what? Fine. I'll stop complaining. I'll stop complaining because I want to get on to the next character. Maybe this one will be good. Is that another fucking Japanese character? Does the modern Overwatch dev team think that China and Japan are the only countries that exist? We now have 4 Japanese heroes and 3 Chinese heroes. And I'm pretty sure that Juno is of Chinese descent as well, so that might be 4. And this complaint isn't extending to Domina as well because she's only our 2nd Indian hero. I'm pretty sure she's Indian. Correct me if I'm wrong. Seriously, fucking 4 Japanese heroes. Why the fuck do I need 4? Couldn't give us someone from a random obscure country that just gets no representation. You know what? No, we need a new character. Japan. Immediately. That's always the first thought. I'm sick of this. You know what? Enough complaining about his race, because I mean, if we did that for too long, then I'd look racist. Ciao, my people of all races. Y'all are all beautiful. Let's take a look at Mitsuki's design. Another boring, generic-looking ass character with that same slender, semi-muscular build that every male character must have nowadays. The only things that look even kind of cool in this guy are his hat, his mask, and his weapon, but nothing really draws attention to those other than the fact that they're mostly colored brown when he's colored mostly green, or is that teal? I don't really even care. Because yes, Overwatch, the best compliment to a bluish toothpaste green is doo-doo brown. Onto his gameplay, I guess that it's kind of cool that his primary fire bounces off of surfaces. Throwing the hat as a healing method, yeah, I like that. Certainly better than Marvel Rivals making every character have to shoot their allies in order to heal them. Holy boring. Support with a tether CC. I have no issues with this. He seems like he's gonna be pretty mobile. I mean, I'm sure somebody will have fun with that. I don't know, this guy just doesn't look like the kind of character that I would play. I'm not gonna call him outright bad like I did with Onron, but it's just not for me. That's enough about the characters. They've announced they're gonna be adding new comics, new cinematics, and have an overarching story that's gonna take place over the course of the entire year. Now, out of everything that we've seen from this game so far, I am most pessimistic about all that. And it's literally just because they just put Doomfist on Fraud Watch. It's felt like they haven't given a fuck about the lore or just the overarching story at all for a long while. And starting to believe that they actually care about it is gonna take more than 2 cinematics. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well, you know? It's hard to believe they wouldn't lock in after all of the promises they just made. Well, I mean, they wouldn't, but they have competition now, so they kinda have to. Generally, I'm optimistic about this next Overwatch season. I'll at least be playing it for the first week that it's out. And I think that's all I have for now. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz. Let me know in the comments what you think of the new season and how it's gonna go forward. Peace.